formal mission of U equals me is stated as a movement of conscientious objectors to intolerance, or simply stated, a movement against intolerance. And the exploration of that statement really gets to what are the similarities between people? What do we all have in common? Why are we really equal as humankind? And that's what we're going to explore.
This podcast is about exploring conversational thoughts and interviews with extraordinary people living ordinary lives of well-being. Discussions on exactly what well-being means to people day to day, factors that can influence it both internally and externally. We glean insights on how to survive and thrive in feeling satisfied in life with a greater sense of purpose. Guest hosts bring fresh new outlooks and opinions from spirituality, science, worldviews, and standing up and speaking out for what's right.
It's pretty interesting. Man needs each other and planet Earth to survive. Check it out. I think you'll like what you hear.
Welcome, family and friends from around the world, to our U equals me podcast. My name is Cindy Jarvis, and today I want to share some fabulous reporting by Nina Shapiro, a story she did in the Seattle Times newspaper. The swift fall of the Afghan government to the Taliban and the refugee crisis in the conflict-torn nation is a painful reminder to many Vietnamese Americans, many of whom were forced to leave their nation in 1975. We would like to introduce you to Son Duong and his son, Nathan Duong. Welcome, both of you. Son, let's start with you.
Sure. Hi.
Hi. Thanks for letting us share your story. In August, along with your 18-year-old son, Nathan, you were watching a TV report of desperate Afghan families fleeing Kabul on a military airplane. And Nathan felt you tense up with a flashback memory of being a little boy on that airplane 46 years ago. And today, you're living in America. You're a 52-year-old artist who creates signage for the upscale food stores Trader Joe's. So you and your brother were playing in an alley in Saigon when your father swept you both up for an immediate departure. Trying to get on a stalled bus, you ended up walking to a military base where you found your mother and your sister and your aunt and uncle, but it was actually a bowling alley. Is that right?
Yeah, it's funny as you say that. I can picture everything that happened as you were talking. Yeah, we did not know where we were going. Of course, we were 5, 6 years old, had no idea what America was. We heard, neighbors and stuff just saying, "Oh, they're going to America," and we're like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
So after rushing out to the bus and can't get on, and my dad just pulled us along all the way. I don't know how long it took. We were so young, but yeah, we ended up in a bowling alley, like an American kind of base, airport kind of thing.
A makeshift military base.
Yes.
For the moment. So, what's really interesting, Son, is the vivid, indelible memories you have in your mind of that day. As Nina describes in her article, the plane was a cavernous, seatless plane with orange and red lights. So here you're on this airplane, you've got this long flight, and you don't even have a seat. Is that right?
No, it was a C-17 big, military transport plane. So of course there's no seats. It was made, later I found out it was made for hauling tanks and jeeps and whatever. The only seats were above where, military people can oversee the vehicles and stuff like that, and to the front. So we were sitting on nylon nettings, just whatever it is. We remember it was kind of like being a fish. We were caught in a net or something, because all the ground was just netted, nylon ropes and stuff like that. So we just made do with what we had, and yeah, there was, 20, 30, 40 people with us. And as a little boy, we just put our heads down and just walk really fast. Don't put your heads up. And I remembered my mom saying, don't look up, don't look up. Just pretty much walk fast, not running, but walk fast to the back of the C-17 airplane where the backs of it were down, and all we can see was the lights inside the plane.
That must have been terrifying.
As a boy, being a boy, the one thing that I kind of keep repeating to Nina was like, it was exciting. It was cool because, my brother and I were playing, cops and robbers or whatever in the alley, and, whatever we saw on TV, what, little we see on TV, to see an actual airplane and we're going to get on, for me, it was pretty exciting because, very visual,
Yes. Well, just to get into your story a little bit, your father, Nathan's grandfather, he worked at the military base as an interpreter. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yes.
and can you, son, can you tell us the story, the Ed Burke story, and how you actually ended up leaving Saigon and coming to America? He was instrumental in, he's like your family.
Yes, pretty much. Well, he, I didn't know this until, later, like now, that he was Ed Burke, our sponsor, was a Vietnam vet, and he's already go back at the U.S. and he heard of this, Vietnamese refugee group that are coming, and he really wanted to be involved, and he met us, in California. We had no idea. I think my dad had no idea, and not going back, but when going back to the story of the airplane, and how it touched me was when I saw, what happened to the Afghans, and I saw the same airplane. It just triggered me to say, oh my gosh, that's what we went on. And that's when Nathan remembered the story and told me, he's like, Dad, that's what you went through, And so it did. It's like deja vu. It's like full circle.
Yeah.
And that's when he wanted to reach out. But going back to Ed, that's how we met in California.
And he, when you say he sponsored you, what does that mean? He provided a home for you. He, I think I read somewhere that he brought gifts to you. I think Nina reported that, he was just right there making sure that you had everything you needed.
Yeah, well, he from California, I think he saw that my family, especially my dad, was very instrumental in being in charge and stuff. And I think he just picked our family because we were a tiny family, and we were so energetic about, I don't know if that's the right word, but just instrumental in leaving Vietnam, that he kind of picked us and goes, hey, I'll sponsor them. And from then on, like I told Nina, they were our American mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And whatever we wanted, whatever we not wanted, what we have questions with, we would ask him or ask our dad to ask him, and Linda is his wife at the time. And they were very supportive. They were that generation of very, my sister said, they're very, hippie, wanting to help, wanting to travel and just be, worldly. And by this, reaching out at especially Linda was only 25 years old. I mean, I think back when I was 25, I hardly had any idea what I wanted to do. And she and her husband, wanted to help. And it just goes to show you, when you want to do something, it doesn't matter how old you are. And look at my son, he's 18 and he's doing, more than I ever did when I was 18, tell you that.
Yeah, I have to tell you, Nathan, you're very impressive.
Oh no.
You really are,
no.
but it's you, and your wife Raina and daughter Sion. You've decided that you're going to help. So Nathan,
Yes.
you got in touch. You started searching, and got in touch with Viets for Afghans, and it's a fairly new group of Vietnamese Americans in the Seattle area, but it was formerly called 75 Viets. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, that was the first project that we were working on, was trying to mobilize 75 Vietnamese Americans to step up to be like host homes for Afghan refugees. And since we've like shifted our focus on onto other projects and taking up the name Viets for Afghans.
You know what's really interesting, Nathan, is that the fall of Saigon, that marks the end of the Vietnam War and the start of the transition period to formally reunify the North and South of Vietnam, was 1975. That's really,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that was, I don't know if it was true, but I think that was the idea, because I had told him when I came over, and I think that's when they came up with, making it become full circle.
Yes.
Have some kind of, theme or direction. That I think they chose 75 because of that.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, Nathan, you reached out to Viet for Afghans, and you were asking to help, and they were so impressed with you that they're asking your help. It's a wonderful story because of your work with Stop Asian Hate. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I worked with one of the co-founders, Jeffrey Vu, on some like Stop Asian Hate work in the months prior. So that's how I got connected with them, through Jeffrey Vu, who was one of the co-founders. And yeah, it's a really wonderful team, and I'm really thankful to be doing this work with them.
That's wonderful. So your family and other families are private citizens offering help. With tens and thousands of Afghan refugees still stuck on U.S. military bases, many are still waiting for overwhelmed U.S. agencies to bring them into new communities. So the help of the private citizens is making such a huge difference in expediting the process. Is that right? Is that how I think I understand that correctly?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So how does that work, Nathan? Can you share a little bit about how that is going to work?
Yeah, sure thing. So right now the State Department is teaming up with an organization called the Community Sponsorship Hub, and they are leading this program called the Sponsor Circle Program for Afghans. It's basically like a pilot version of private sponsorship, which allows private U.S. citizens to take the lead on sponsoring refugees. So with this specific program, it's going to be sponsoring Afghan refugees who are currently in military camps and bases around the U.S. I guess, so the private sponsors have to like raise $2,275 per person, and have to commit to helping like refugees find employment, find language acquisitions, services, furniture, housing, and so on and so forth. So it's really like that's one of the reasons why we want to mobilize the Vietnamese American community to step up to help is services and the support that Afghan refugees will be getting in this sponsor circle program is really similar, extremely similar to the services and support that the Vietnamese community got upon arriving into the United States.
This project is very personal. One thing I want to say is that we know that a lot of people are really angry with the U.S. government for leaving Afghanistan. And, you know, I'm sure there's a lot that we don't know about the time and the transition and how all of that, you know, eventually worked out. But what we do know is that in the last 20 years that the U.S. has been in Afghanistan, women were allowed to be educated. They were even in the military, and freedom was really given to all of its citizens. So really, the U.S. has been very helpful. So these refugees coming from Afghanistan, they're educated, they're well educated, you know, and English speaking already, some of them. So Nathan, I know you and I were talking last night. I think there are a lot of misconceptions people have about helping immigrants. Can you touch on what you've experienced or what you think, you know, some of the misconceptions for bringing immigrants into the States?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, I mean, it's similar to, you know, what happened in Vietnam, where, you know, the people coming, the refugees that were coming in had like professional skills and like job skills coming in. And you know, just thinking back to my grandpa, my Ong Noi, he came in with skills as an interpreter who worked with the U.S. Army and the South Vietnamese Army. So he was able to transfer those skills into working in the DSHS and providing social services to newly arrived refugees from Southeast Asia. So, and that's really similar to what's happening right now, and just what goes on just generally with refugee resettlement. The Afghan refugees that are coming in, so many of them have experiences as interpreters, engineers, doctors, lawyers, politicians, leaders, and so on and so forth. So, you know, obviously our communities need to step up and support Afghan refugees and or all refugees. But one of the common misconceptions really is that, you know, immigrants and refugees all come in like without any skills or without anything that positive that they can offer their communities. And
Right.
I think that you know, our collective stories as immigrant and refugee communities and diasporas really goes to show that that misconception is really false.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made that point, because they are, of course, they need help in getting settled, but they are not takers. They are valuable assets to any community that they land in. That's so important. And I think it's really important for people to understand that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure thing.
Nathan, your parents are well educated and value education, and you'll be attending Boston University in January. Congratulations. That's exciting. And you're working to pay for your schooling, working a second job.
Mm-hmm.
A few jobs.
A few jobs.
Just working. Just working to pay my way through college.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of our new neighbors will be working very hard as well to educate their children, you know, and to inculcate their new life in the United States. So this is a beautiful story of giving back and making a difference in the world. It's very emotional, you know, for me. I was thinking about it all day, and I've been thinking about it ever since I read Nina's article. And I will have her article link in the show notes so people can see your beautiful faces. It's a great article with pictures, but it is emotional hearing you share your family's experiences and what our new neighbors may be experiencing as they get settled. But it's also a feel-good story, you know, to be able to help. We can feel the gratitude that your family is giving back, that your family is sharing. And, you know, research research shows that gratitude is an integral part of happiness, health, and creates incredible social bonds. And when we give, we don't only help just the immediate people that we give to, but what happens is we can also spur a ripple effect in the community to get others to help. That's how, after I spoke with the two of you, that's how I felt like, how can I help? And so that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I just love what you're doing. And I just think it's wonderful. So there was a woman, Ewan. Her last name is Nguyen.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, sorry. Her name is Wen Nguyen.
Wen Nguyen. Thank you. She helped start Viets for Afghan, and she states, at the end of the day, humanity is our common denominator, and simply you equals me. We're equal because we're human beings. And it's just beautiful, the unity that you guys are extending to these new arriving families. How can people get involved? We want to help your family succeed? We want to help you with your angel work that you're doing. How can we help?
Oh, thank you. No, you're too kind. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of ways to help, and there's and more than plenty of need for all sorts of help, be it through volunteers, donations, sponsorship. This is a situation to not only show your gratitude as as well for us as the Vietnamese community, to show our gratitude as people who were previously benefactors of this, like as a community, but there is also an extreme need for this going on. The Afghan refugee crisis is really intense, and the fact that there's I guess like not only the like raids going on in Afghanistan with like the Taliban like knocking on doors and murdering people who had previously worked with the government or had ties to any foreign governments, which kind of ties into our humanitarian parole project, which I will touch on in a moment. But there's also situations going on in the military camps that Afghan refugees who are in the United States are in, where the being in the camps for prolonged periods of time can be really detrimental to the family's health and their well-being. So there's an extremely large need for people to get involved, and I would encourage everyone to get involved one way or another. So I guess for ways people that can get involved, I'd direct them to our website, which is going to be vietsforafghans.com.
Okay.
Sorry, vietsforafghans.org. And there you can learn about like what we're doing, learning about our projects. Two of our main projects right now are Humanitarian Parole and the Sponsorship Circle. So with Humanitarian Parole, you can donate to cover the humanitarian parole application fee for Afghans who are still in Afghanistan and trying to leave the country. Humanitarian parole is one of the main broadly used means of getting into the United States right now in the current refugee crisis in Afghanistan. So you can donate to those application fees.
Right, you don't even think about that. You don't even think about the fee just to apply.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sure thing. And like with the fee, it's $575 US dollars per individual.
What?
So yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then when you factor in the conversion rate here, it makes just applying for humanitarian parole, which doesn't guarantee evacuation or access into the United States, it makes just that possibility out of the reach of many Afghan
Yeah,
families.
it just slows the process down.
Oh,
And now that's just an application fee. That's not a plane ticket or anything like that.
Right. Yes. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So there's a lot that I've learned from my son.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we have that fundraiser going on, and then you can also pretty soon here we'll be launching some recruitment efforts for sponsorship for humanitarian parole, which is a little bit different than circle sponsorship, but more information can be found on our website about that pretty soon here. And then with our on the other side of things with our sponsorship circle projects, plenty of like donations are needed in supporting the families that we are going to be sponsoring. So any like donations, if you have like household items or furniture, especially, that'd be super helpful. Though that is like more locationally specific to like King County area.
Right.
And then
thankfully we're in the same area. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Nathan. Yeah, we're in the same area. So that works for us, but people can also find ways to get involved around the globe, even in their own communities. But yeah, thank you. So go ahead. Yeah, this is interesting.
Oh yeah, sure thing. Yeah, absolutely. And then like on the point of like ways that people like outside of Washington, outside of King County can get involved. We're always in need of like donations and fiscal donations. Circling back on the sponsorship circle program, it does each individual refugee that is sponsored through the sponsor circle program needs to have at least $2,275. So once you get into like a family of 6 that we're sponsoring for our first family, and families of larger sizes, that can get pretty pricey, and we want to support these families the best that we can. So fiscal donations are always needed to support the families that go through that program as well.
That's very, very impressive, Nathan. So this is very powerful. Thank you, Nathan, your mom, your sister, your dad, son. Thank you. A special thank you to Nina Shapiro. A link to her article will be in the show notes. We'll put everything that you just mentioned in the show notes so people can get in touch with you. They can donate. You can also, our listeners can also find you on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and am I missing something? No, I think that. I think that's it.
Sounds good.
I love it. If you're looking to support a global humanitarian cause and refugees, please learn more about what Nathan and Son are doing and learn more about their projects and ways that we can help Vietnamese Americans that are advocating and aligning themselves with the Afghan refugees. Any donation is welcome and tax deductible at Viet's for Afghans. It's fiscally sponsored by the Vietnamese American non-governmental organization. So you can find out more about that on the website. And we're asking you, the U Equals Me Foundation, we're asking you, our listeners, to donate what you can. That just would be wonderful. Any small amount, every little bit counts, every little bit adds up. And so, again, all the links will be in the show notes. But Nathan, we wish you the best of luck. And the whole Duong family. My heart is warmed just getting to know you.
Thank you for reaching out and helping us, letting people know about this, this thing that we're doing.
It's a great thing. I'm going to say goodbye for now, wishing everyone a warm holiday and a healthy new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us your time. Please share this podcast to further our global mission of compassion and equality. For those who wish to support the U equals Me Foundation, your tax-deductible purchases of U equals Me logo-wear can be found at uequalsme.org or U equals Me Etsy store, all one word in your Google search. For a complimentary copy of our ebook, Wisdom Along the Way, a book of notes and quotes, you can join our One Worlders group email list at uequalsme.org. Links will be in the show notes. Much love around the world. Be safe, be kind, be you.